well, firstly, thanks, guys, for being here today. Significant day for the footy club, an exciting day for the footy club. And it's appropriate I've got both Rory and Geordie here with me today to announce that we're going to have a change in our leadership going forward. Rory's made the decision, along with the footy club, to step down as captain and pass on the baton to Geordie. So we're really excited for what the future brings as far as our leadership goes. I want to thank Rory for his unbelievable leadership in the short period of time I've been at the football club. I think we all know how Rory leads. It's a follow me, put the head in the hole sort of leader, and we'll continue to have that leadership going forward, no doubt. But it is an exciting time for our footy club, and I thank Rory for everything he did as captain, and I'm extremely excited to congratulate Geordie on now what comes next. And I'm sure Geordie will show you his leadership over the coming years. He'll let his footy do the talking in that space. But I think it's appropriate we hear from Sloaney first, and he'll give you some of the details in how we arrived here today and what went down this morning.
Appreciate the kind words, mate. And yeah, thank you everyone for coming in. It's an absolute privilege to sit here and hand over the captaincy to Geordie Dawson. I'll touch on why that's such a good appointment probably shortly, but it's been, for myself and probably to all the fans and the footy club, it's been an absolute honour and privilege to sit in this position and captain this side and co-captain this side for the last 4 years. I love this footy club. I'll always continue to do what's best for this footy club. It does mean the world to me. But the timing just seems right. And Nixie, myself, Dan Jackson and Adam Kelly, we've been chatting, I suppose, for some time now around what's it look like going forward and who's next and who want to help develop in this area. And I suppose probably at the end of last year, we had a chat. We're like, oh, do we make a call now? And we're like, no, let's just wait. Let's hold off till this point. And I'm glad we did, because for 2 reasons. We wanted to check where I was at, both physically and mentally. And I feel in a great shape right now. Back fully training, really enjoying my footy and where my body's at. And I'm excited for this season to be back out there playing alongside Dorse. But the other reason as well, we wanted to wait and see if someone else was ready to fill in and take that captaincy role. And we do believe Jordan's that man for a few reasons, as I said earlier. Since his time, he's come from Sydney. He's one of the most caring footballers I've come across. He's developed unbelievable connections in a year's time, to a point where all his peers have certainly voted him in as well. And what I think really sets Jordan up to be a great captain of our football club, and I only experienced a short period of it when I was playing last year, but I've been able to experience it now I'm back in full swing of training. His ability just to step back, detach himself from the chaos that sometimes is out on ground, but then to make calm decisions around what's best for the group during those games of footy. And that's something I think is going to set us up really well going forward. And the other thing I'm super excited about, and I sort of joked to the boys about this before, I see the captaincy is almost like the president's. Once a captain, you're always a captain. Once a president, you're always a president. So it's a great position that our footy club's in, to have myself, Tex, who's a previous captain as well, and Dawson out there, and one skipper in each line, which is going to be really powerful for our footy club. So yeah, it's an exciting time, and yeah, I couldn't be proud of this guy right here, and what he's going to do leading our footy club going forward.
Yeah, well, obviously, I just want to say thanks to Sloaney. He's been an incredible captain my year that I've been here, and I've admired the way he's gone about his footy over the journey. And for myself, growing up as an Adelaide supporter and being from South Australia, it's a real privilege and something that I'm obviously going to take very seriously. And like Sloaney touched on, being voted by the other players as well was really important to me. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity from Nixie and the board and the club. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really excited about where the group's at and where we're heading.
Got any questions? Jordan, when you arrived last year, did you know that you had leadership aspirations? I know you came to leadership group mid-season, but as soon as you arrived, was that something that was on your mind?
Not particularly. I think I came in knowing that I am a good leader and I can lead. obviously early on, I just wanted to come in and just assess where the group was at and try and play good football, and that was my main focus. And then as the year sort of went on and, Sloaney got injured and a few things happened, I wanted to sort of step up in that area. And to be rewarded into the leadership group was a huge honour for me. And I think obviously coming from Sydney, the culture there was massive, and I'm really grateful for the leaders that I had over there to sort of shape me into who I am now. But yeah, at the time I didn't sort of have any aspirations to be a captain or anything like that. I just wanted to play good footy and help lead the club in whatever way I could.
Were you privy to those conversations kind of 6 months ago that you could potentially be stepping up into that leadership role?
Not particularly. I sort of, obviously you hear from you guys probably more the media, outlets and stuff that you hear a few things, but I think in respect to Sloaney and the club, I sort of stepped away from that and let him talk to Nixie and Adam Kelly and those guys. And then obviously when the time was right, Sloaney and I have been chatting, and I said either way, no matter what sort of happens, I was going to maintain the way I sort of go about it and the leader that I am. And if Sloaney was to keep skippering, I would have 100% backed that in as well. So it was important for me to just sort of remove myself from those conversations early and do what's best for the club, really.
What sort of leadership style do you reckon you'll have?
I think Sloaney touched on it. I'm very compassionate and caring, but I do have a hard edge to me, and I want to win. And this club and where we're at, it feels like we're in that position to start winning. And I think obviously game day, my ability to perform, but then also hold my teammates accountable as well, is where sort of I go down that path. But yeah, being compassionate and caring, but also having that hard edge and wanting to win is important to me.
What have you learned from Rory in the last year in the sense of leadership?
Probably his ability to be compassionate and his standards that he sets. Obviously doing his knee last year, his ability to attack every rehab session and the way he goes about it, it's really admirable. And he's one of the best leaders I've ever come across, and to have him and Tex still around as well is really important to the group, that I'm able to bounce ideas off them and use them as guidance as well.
Is it kind of pinch yourself the moment that you grew up supporting this footy club and now all of a sudden you're captaining it?
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said, I grew up barracking for the club, and to be here right now, it's really special. It probably won't sink in for a little bit, but like I said, it's something that I don't take lightly, the responsibility, and I want to be the best captain I can be and the best person I can be as well at the club.
How were you actually told? Was it a conversation with kind of Nixie and Rory, or was it in front of the whole group? Or?
Yeah, so we sat down together over a coffee on Thursday, and obviously have been speaking together separately, but when Nixie rocked up, I kind of thought maybe there was something going on. But yeah, we had a good conversation around that. I'm sure they'll touch on it a bit more, but it was all smiles, and we're all very happy with the decision, I think.
Was it a big question for you whether you could manage being the leader of the team but also manage your performance out in the field?
Not really, to be honest. I think, like I said, the way I'm going to go about it is pretty similar. I'm going to look to improve and be the best player and person I can be, but I mean, I feel like the reason why I'm here is because I'm authentic in who I am, and I'm not going to change that. So hopefully game day, that means that I just keep doing what I'm doing, which I'm confident in.
I'm sorry you've done it for so long now. How big of a decision was this in your life?
No, not. No, I suppose I'll probably undersell it a little bit, but we've always chatted regularly about this, because I know my vision for the footy club is, how do we just leave this footy club in a great shape when I'm not here? That's what Goody did, Birdman did, VB's done. That's what all the leaders of our footy club have done, is just always focus on what's next and how do we leave the footy club in better shape. And that's always been my chat with Nixie, is like, all right, who's next and how do we best prepare them and this team to take that next step forward. So really quite a comfortable decision. In the end, I still had a lot of belief if it was me that the club needed to fill that role, I could certainly do it. And then once we started chatting through the attributes that Dorse has got and where this group was at, started to get really excited about how these next couple of years can pan out.
Given that big gap with your injury, is it kind of disappointing to you that you won't get that final game where you get to leave the boys out?
No, not at all. I just want to get back out there and play football. That's that's been the sole focus for me, is to make sure I'm in great nick coming back to round one, and I certainly feel that way. So, yeah, I'm just excited to be back out running around there, and I think these boys have probably seen that, me run around a bit chirpy over the last few weeks. So,
Not a formal spot in the leadership group, but I mean, we still play a bit of an informal active role as a leader.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been huge on, this is something I learned, I think, from my dad at an early age, but you just don't need a title to lead. And that's been one of my big messages to the whole group is no one ever needs a title to lead. Some of the best leaders throughout history have never had a title. And yeah, for us, we're really trying to develop a whole range of guys that can lead, whether you've got a title, whether you're in the leadership or not. I expect Jake Saligo to lead in his own way in his second year of footy like he has been. So, yeah, nothing will change from my behalf. I'll probably spend a bit more time hassling Nixie because I love talking footy with Nixie. He's got a great footy brain and I love learning off him.
Do you think, in terms of your recovery for your knee, it lifts a bit of the pressure that you're not having to come in as the captain coming back?
I've mentioned this a couple of times, what the knee injury did for me was just provide me with a bit of time and a lot of clarity on where I need to sink my time and energy. And I've certainly got a really simple focus from after doing that knee injury. Having a year off footy certainly freshened me up, and yeah, I feel like my focus has narrowed from that injury. So I think I'd answer that.
How did you and Nixie determine that Geordie was the right person for the role?
Well, look, I think some of his performances last year, certainly chatting, I had a lot of time to chat with Nixie last year, but certainly chatting through how footy panned out and who was leading us down back and who was leading us up forward. We always had a bit of talk around Dorse and a lot of other leaders too. I shouldn't forget that our other leaders in Brodie Smith, Tom Duday, Riley O'Brien, Ben Keys all set an incredible example for this footy club and all lead incredibly well in their own way. But as I mentioned before, the way Dorse is able to stay calm under pressure and detach himself from the chaos at times, I think that's what stood out for us.
Were some of those boys ever in the conversation as well, to possibly captain the club next year?
Absolutely. I mean, we've always talked through a whole range of those. Those guys all have different strengths, and that's probably what makes our leadership group so diverse. Yeah, and that's why I'm so confident to not even to step back from the leadership group as well and leave it in their hands.
Nixie, what was this process like for you?
Well, it's been a long process. It's today's, I guess, the result of 12 months of, it was probably 3 years of conversation really around leadership. We're constantly talking about leadership and what's going to make us better, how do we improve. And we've had the most selfless leader at the footy club in Rory Sloane, so the conversation was open and honest, ongoing. It was about finding that right leader who was going to take the baton or, I guess, take the responsibility when the time was right, and the time's right now. And so it was a really easy conversation for us to have. It was quite an enjoyable Thursday morning coffee. We were able to sit down with Geordie, and Geordie's very modest. He's probably played it as well as I've seen anyone this 12 months. He's a natural leader. When we targeted Geordie to try and get him to the footy club, we could see the leadership on field that he was displaying at Sydney. So, that's part of our recruiting process is to get people in that we feel can help us get better. Geordie is one of those. As I said before, when the time's right, you know it. I think we looked at each other at a point and went, yep, he's ready. We're ready for that next step.
So when Geordie came to the club, was that fresh in the mind that he could be a future captain of this club?
Look, I think from a coaching point of view, and personally, yeah, we saw some outstanding leadership in Geordie just by watching him play footy. You can see when players are able to take over a game, players that see the game, they understand how things work, why they work. He's able to influence his teammates, with leadership, but he's also able to step up in key moments. And we saw it as early as Showdown last year. It's one moment that everyone's going to talk about, unfortunately, Geordie, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. But that's only one moment, that stood out. There's so many where Geordie's shown us that he's an outstanding on-field leader. As Rory mentioned, we've got numerous strong leaders at the footy club, and they've all got their own strengths. Probably what gave Geordie the nod was some of his on-field attributes, but also the backing of his teammates, so the backing of our squad. It was unanimous that Geordie was our next captain when the time was right.
If everyone's kind of fit and firing at the moment. With Geordie at the helm, do you think you've put the components in place to make the 8 this year?
Oh, look, we hope so. We're here to improve. You know, it's all about challenging the best. We feel like we've done that in spurts across the last couple of years. It hasn't been consistent enough. So we've got work to do. That's what we're doing at the moment. We're right at the peak of training. We'll taper off now into some trial games. But we feel like, you know, we've done more work than we did last year. All our numbers are sort of pointing in the right direction. We've built our connection. We're getting some experience under our belts. Yeah, look, we're confident we're going to give it a good crack this year, but it's about doing that week in, week out and challenging the best teams in the competition.
So how you feeling?
With the knee? Yeah, really good. As I mentioned earlier, the goal for me was pretty clear. I think round 1 was just under 11 months, so that was a goal I set for myself, and that's looking really achievable right now, being back. I think joining in main sessions for the last 4 weeks with all the match sim. And sort of threw the cap off, though, we wear sometimes, you would have seen these silly caps to non-contact, and it's a bit hard to not get caught up in it, so I threw it off a bit yesterday, and I think to the doc's dislike, but I felt amazing, so yeah, it's been, I've been in great hands. I mean, our physio, Tim Parnham, Josh Manuel in particular, I'll give a shout out to those two, but they've been incredible. I set the challenge for them, I said, just put me in the best nick of my career, and I think they've certainly done that.
Was it kind of a slow burn that you were going to give up the captaincy, or was there a pinpoint moment that you were like, yeah, this is it, I've decided we're going to give up the captaincy?
No, not so bad. That was a call. Nixie and I, we sat down sort of, I reckon it would have been November, December. And like, because there's a bit of noise around it too, and we're like, no, don't rush this. We don't need to rush this. I want to see, as I said before, how I was feeling, both physically and mentally around this time. And as I just mentioned, like, I feel in great shape. But the point which flipped is when we were chatting probably a few weeks ago now, and we're like, all right, is someone ready? And we're like, yeah, it's noticeable from me being out on track, I could see it, and Nixie's been seeing it all year and across the pre-season, but that was probably the moment we were like, yeah, we sat down, we're like, yeah, it's time.
If you hadn't have seen anyone that you two view as capable of taking over, do you think you would have kept on?
If that's what was best for the footy club, and again, we would have had that chat, big ifs and buts, but yeah, whatever was best for the footy club.
All good? Great.